machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior, folks. It's basically the weekend. Welcome, everybody. Nadia rating in. Hey, welcome, everybody. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I see if you're starting to stream, let me know. We can always give you a shout out. Kirkenstein's Monster, Cognizant, welcome. Cheers from the Great White North. ¿De dónde eres? Yes, I understand. Welcome, Maju Misty. That's pretty cool. Hermit Horologist. The only uncle, the only Spanish uncle still living in, lives in Biarritz in, instead of Spain, I think is what I understand. Cognizant resubscribing for 36 months. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate that. Heck yeah. All right, folks, we got quite the amount of stuff to go through, and yesterday we spent a little bit over time. So today I'm gonna make an effort to try to get out of here as quickly as possible. Let's get started, folks. If you want to support the channel, keep doing what you're doing, folks. It really does help us out. Spread the word. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, around 5 p.m. Eastern time, more or less. Catch my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. There is, this space is currently streaming. They do live content, syndicated content, all kinds of stuff. Some of the stuff we watch here, from the Humanist Report to the Rational National to Leftist Mafia. There's live content from folks like myself. There's also movie night extravaganza. There's all kinds of different types of content on this space. So if you want to check us out there, there's the link. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store. Hit the exclamation mark tip. I mean, I guess you aren't chipping in to the stream. Look at that. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. We're gonna pick up on the movie and show streaming stuff soon, as these last couple of weekends have been rough, but that's okay. We'll get back to it. I was able to put the vertical stream on, so that's pretty cool. The vertical stream looks really good. I'm actually pretty impressed that this actually works. All right, folks, let's get started. Man, there's just so much, so many things that have happened in the last couple of hours. So we'll see how much of this we can get through. I think we should probably start with just getting some of the news out of the way first. Just get some of the news out of the way first, because there's just so much stuff to cover today. I guess we should start with the less with the, I don't want to say less important, because it's all kind of semi-important, but the less impactful news, I guess. Republicans have vowed to block Trump from seizing Greenland by force. Make no mistake about it, this is not a this is not a W or a credit to Republicans. essentially what they're saying here is they're afraid of destroying the NATO alliance, and essentially saying that we are giving a win to our adversaries of Russia. At the same time, if they were serious about any of this, they would just straight up say that they're going to impeach him. Just like that. There are some rumblings in the House, not the Senate, but there is some rumblings in the Senate that indicate that some Republicans might want to impeach Trump if he does do this, but it means nothing if the Republicans in the Senate aren't willing to remove him. So it all is just a charade, as far as I'm concerned. But if you do have a Republican senator or a Republican congressperson, you need to put the pressure on them every day. Not the news. I thought Trump was like NATO schmat. Keep calling and keep writing to your Congress people. Shifting gears, this is the exact intended result of not extending the ACA subsidies. Oh, NATO. I thought you were saying something else. NATO schmato. Impeachment is just a formal word of accusation. Conviction and removal are the key issues. Yes, exactly. So, exactly correct. That's why it means nothing unless the Senate is actually willing to remove him. Anything else is just words. You're 100% correct. Anything else is just it's just words. 1.4 million people enrolled in the ACA plans. Fewer people enrolled in the ACA plans as premiums spike and tax credits expire. I can speak to this as someone who has spoken to someone directly and has the ability to and was assisting them with the ACA stuff. Their healthcare plan went from this is already absurd. An absurd conversation to be having, but their healthcare plan went from roughly about $500 and something dollars, call it 530, 535, all the way to about $730. That's $730 a month. Because these tax credits expire. And the end result is that she can't afford it. The end result is that she can't afford it, and she now is on the cusp of just canceling her health insurance because there's no she can't pay for it. And she needs it. She's got health concerns, and it's not really optional. It's not really optional, but she can't afford it, so it's how we live now. The ruling class have suffered horrible fates far less historically speaking. True, 1 million people with healthcare, just normal stuff in 2026. True. Ladybug, welcome. Man, don't we live in such a great country? About 1.4 million people, fewer people have signed up for the ACA plans compared to the same time last year in the face of increasing premium costs, expired tax credits, and new federal data shows. Our Republican healthcare plan is thoughts and prayers. The thoughts and prayers being, I hope you die. I mean, like literally, that's how they feel. The data updated on Monday for the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services included those who signed up via healthcare.gov through January 3rd and those who signed up with state-run ACA marketplaces through December 27th. Last year, there was about 24.2 million people who had selected a plan through the marketplace by this time this year, including 3.9 million new customers. As of January 12th, there have been 22.8 million who selected a plan with 2.8 million new customers. The deadline is today. Yeah, another day in paradise. Welcome to paradise. One reason is likely the expiration of the ACA subsidies. Yeah, you think? Yeah. Someone very close to me is one of those 1.4 million people because exactly that. The expiration of the ACA subsidies, as garbage as, it is, as garbage as it is, was the one thing that was keeping her healthcare in place, and it's gone now because she literally cannot afford it. 1.4 have already died from Obamacare subsidies getting canceled. That's worse than I thought. No. 1.4 people have signed up, have lost insurance because they can't afford it. And out of, to be fair, out of those 1.4 million, it's safe to say that probably tens of thousands or more are going to die because they don't have that health insurance anymore and are not going to get the care that they need. So yeah, it's safe to assume that a percentage of those 1.4 million will die, and you can add that to the already tens of thousands, almost 60 something thousand, 58,000 people die because they can't access healthcare, because they can't afford healthcare. Now there's 1.4 more million people that don't have health insurance, so yeah, there's gonna be a percentage of those people that die because they don't have the money. It's literally your money or your life kind of deal. One reason is likely the expiration of ACA subsidies, experts told ABC News, also known as premium tax credits. They help lower or eliminate the out-of-pocket costs monthly premiums for those who purchase insurance through the health insurance marketplace. The subsidies were part of the original ACA passed during the Obama administration and were enhanced during the COVID-19 pandemic to increase the amount of financial assistance to those who are already eligible and expand eligibility to more people. The majority of the ACA marketplace enrollees were receiving enhanced premium tax credits to lower their monthly premium, and many were preparing to see their premiums rise in 2026. In October and November, the subsidy became a sticking point during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, in which the Democrats rolled over and just let this happen. The reason why there's now 1.4 million people less able to afford healthcare is because Republicans want you dead, and Democrats are they just don't have the spine, didn't have the spine required to get that done. I'm still in the hospital. Glad I'm in Canada. Yeesh. I'm glad too, Cognizant. I'm glad too. 250,000 because old system systematically underestimates the number dying. Probably it's heavily underestimated. That's for sure. We don't have the exact number. It's kind of like a hard metric to measure, like how many people died exactly because they couldn't afford healthcare. But we have like more or less an idea, and it's not great. One second. All right. Republicans said the expansions on the pandemic era went too far because, healthcare. and tried to persuade Democrats to fund a temporary spending bill that didn't address the expiring ACA subsidies, with promises of discussing ways to continue the subsidies later, which that didn't happen. That never materialized. That just simply never materialized. Meanwhile, Democrats insisted on extending the premium tax credits as part of the bill to end the shutdown, warning their expiration could be detrimental for millions of Americans, and they were right, but they rolled over. Earlier in November, the Senate reached a bipartisan deal to end the shutdown, which did not include any of the Democratic demands because they are a bunch of weaklings. 8 Democrats voted with Republicans because that's how it works. And the bill was later passed by the House. Sources told ABC News that Republican leadership promised to allow a vote on the bill of Democrats choosing to related to the ACA in December, but a pair of competing healthcare bills failed to advance in the Senate earlier this month. Because, yeah, of course, like anyone could have seen this coming. Literally anyone could have seen this coming. Earlier this month, the House passed a Democratic-led bill that would see the enhanced premium tax credits extended by 3 years. Estimates from the CBO have suggested that without the extension, gross benchmark premiums, the price of a standard plan before the government subsidies are applied could increase by 4.3% in 2026 and 7.7% in 2027 for those on marketplace plans. Fantastic. It's bad. It's really bad. As far as I can see from like the situation that I observed firsthand, it was a $200 increase. Okay, like paying $730, paying $730 a month is absurd for healthcare. Democrats have spine made of whalebone when it comes to attacking the left. Progressives, etc. They didn't torpedo Obamacare because they were spineless when facing off against Republicans. They torpedoed Obamacare because they are in fact nothing but Republicans lying and saying they're Democrats. I feel like some of them really are just Republicans. Zero freaking. I think the reason why that like comes off like that is because they're liberals at the end of the day, and like liberals are right wing. Just because they're not like Republicans, like fascist, liberals are right wing. So I see that. But yeah, they're pretty useless when it comes to fighting actual fascist, but all of a sudden they do find a spine to fight progressive or perceived progressive politics whenever it decides to come up. 100%. That's been the case as far as I can observe since I started getting into politics. That's been the case. They fought Bernie Sanders with more gusto than seemingly they fought Trump in 2016. A KFF analysis last year found that people who buy insurance from the marketplace and receive financial assistance would see their premiums rise about 114% on average from $880 in 2025 to $1,904 in 2026. That's fantastic. This is a mortgage payment, folks. If your health insurance plan is $1,904, that is like a mortgage payment. IDT, that looks like how much my rent went up last year. Yeesh. Welcome, Bonzilla. So I guess like the main stage or the main story or topic or whatever is the ever increasing authoritarianism that's happening here. there is developments that are happening very quickly, and each one just keeps pointing to a increasingly authoritarian crackdown. We have what's happening in Minneapolis. Now, Trump is saying, he claims that this is a joke. But I don't believe that. On top of threatening, again, to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis, he's now, quote, joking about whether or not we should have November midterms. President Trump said he thinks the U.S. shouldn't even have midterms, according to an interview with Reuters published Thursday, ramping up his attacks on the upcoming election and democracy itself. Little d democracy, about the possibility of Republicans losing control of Congress. Trump claimed to Reuters that because of his administration's many accomplishments during the second term, when you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election. Got it? Yeah, this makes sense because, we're doing so great, right? Like, all these accomplishments, these so-called accomplishments that are happening right now, we shouldn't even have midterms, folks. We're doing so good. We're doing so great that we shouldn't even have midterms. Like, what are we talking about? Everybody's doing so great. Like, I did nothing wrong and they still want elections. They fought Bernie with vehement berserker rage. At no point have they been more tepidly ambivalent opposed to Trump or Bush Jr. or Senior Reagan. Yeah, no, I agree on that 1,000%. I agree on that 1,000%. They fought Bernie with more strategy and more gusto and more strength and more vehement berserker rage, as you put. Then they did they were going out and saying Bernie was some kind of like racist misogynist who hates women. Like, it was really nasty. It was a nasty campaign. The Clinton people. Yeah. Heat, how's it going? Welcome. Quaximus, sup mammals? Welcome. BCat, welcome. %, hence Gabriel Rockill's liberalism and fascism partners in crime. I'm a total Bernie bro. Me too. I was there. I was there just like all of us, just like you in 2016 and in 2020. Yep. Oh, and there goes my camera. Anyways. Frizzle, welcome. Michael Hasser, welcome. Welcome. Bernie was the best that we had. I think as far as like an American politician, yeah. I'm more of a fan of Marx, Engels, Lenin, and Stalin more than Bernie. I mean, Bernie is what we had here in the States, Oh, hey. Oh, I see. Bernie is what we had in the States, and that's not saying much, but it is what it is. Looney Tunes, welcome. What's up, woke losers? It's time for your president once again to say fuck you to your car plant workers, even though I've been told not to give them the middle finger. How about elections? You want elections? Everybody's talking about elections. It's sad to say, like, that Bernie is, like, the best that we had. Like, just to be clear, like, Bernie, you want to talk about, like, real centrism? Look, there it goes again. You want to talk about real centrism? Bernie was, like, legitimately the centrist candidate. Hermit Horologist, welcome. Like, Bernie was the moderate position, okay? I thought Duck was extinct. No. Nope. They are still here. Imagine if the DNC didn't force Brandon on us and let Bernie take it. In an alternate timeline, folks, we would have had a better timeline. Yeah, the overturned window and all that. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy to consider him radical. Yeah, he is the moderate position. Like, technically speaking, Bernie is the centrist position. Like, that is like the low of the low bar, right? Like, obviously people should have healthcare, right? Like, what we're advocating for here isn't, like, radical at all. That is the centrist and moderate position. What's radical is advocating against it. What's radical is advocating against healthcare. What's radical is advocating for the totalitarian Christo-fascist wet dream that these people are trying to create. That's the radical position. The radical position is the fecklessness of liberals thinking that everything is okay. And that the institutions will hold. That is the radical position. The radical position is believing that this system is fine, and then all we need to do is just tweak it a little bit, and it'll be fine, right? That is fundamentally the radical position. Democrats are favored to make gains in Congress in November based on polling and historical trends showing that the party that's not in the White House typically does better in the midterms, with Trump lamenting at that pattern, claiming it's some deep psychological thing. It's not. It's not. So he's scared because he knows that it's very likely that Republicans lose the House. But I think they're probably going to keep the Senate. That's probably what's going to end up happening. Trump has repeatedly expressed concerns about the possibility his party could lose control of Congress in the midterms, telling GOP lawmakers earlier this month that Democrats would find a reason to impeach me if they regained congressional control. Trump told Republicans in that speech the party has got to win the midterms, but added he wouldn't say cancel the election because the fake news will say he wants to cancel elections. He's a dictator. I mean, the fake news doesn't have to say anything. He's the one that's saying all this stuff. He's the one that's saying this. He's the one that's saying that he wants to be a dictator just for one day. He's the one that's going around doing dictator things, making unilateral decisions without Congress. That's him. The fake news is not doing anything. That's just him. Republicans have also undertaken efforts to try and stave off Democratic gains in November by cheating. Have undertaken efforts to stave off Democratic gains in November. You mean to finagle the maps right before a midterm to try to give themselves a upper hand, which is something that normally doesn't happen. So it's so unambiguous that they're trying their best to hold on to the House because they know that the people are really not happy with them. Radical usually means far left, and reactionary usually means far right. That's a good way of putting it, honestly. Honestly, like, that is That's honestly probably more accurate. Radical isn't entirely right to use to mean to extreme in extreme. Radical isn't entirely right to use to mean extreme in potentially either direction. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm just using it like a colloquially speaking. Radical isn't even like necessarily even bad, to be honest. It's just my use based on their perception of what radical means, because they always think that the radical left is something used as like a negative, but it's not. Being radical technically isn't bad, not necessarily. But you are correct. I think reactionary is the more accurate term to refer to the far right. It's true. Republicans aren't planning on having elections, not fair ones anyways, not elections they want to lose. President has not given any specific indication he could try to take action to stymie the November midterms. But he's talking about how we shouldn't have midterms as a joke. Which I don't think is a joke. I don't think when he says this, this isn't an offhand comment. Just like how people thought it was an offhand comment when he said that in 2019 that if he loses the election, or was it 2019? Yeah, if he loses the 2020 election, that there wouldn't be a peaceful transfer of power, and then January 6th happened, right? Like, people thought that was an offhanded comment, but it wasn't. Locally, Trump doesn't have humor. He doesn't make jokes. No, I agree. People are saying that, oh, he's just being tongue in cheek or whatever. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not taking it that way. I think he's serious. If it was up to him, and him alone, there wouldn't be midterms. Like, because the way he's thinking about it is he knows he's cooked. He knows he's cooked. I think deep down he knows that he's not that popular, and he's afraid of losing control of Congress that continues to rubber stamp. I'm not 100% sure they won't be farcical despite happening either way. Don't count on the midterms. No, the electoralism is all it is just but a tool, right? Like, it's not to, if you can't depend on the midterms to save anything. Like, again, even if everything went right, okay? Even if everything went right, even if all the Republicans lost, right? Like, I'm talking about a just 0% chance of happening, but I'm saying, like, in a stunning turn of events, if all Republicans lost their seats, and all Republicans in the 2026 midterms lost their elections, right? That doesn't mean that we solved the problem, right? We still have to deal with the Democrats too, who don't seem to want to govern, and don't want to seem to do anything. So the party doesn't stop there, and neither does the plan. So yeah, even if Democrats win every single election, it does not mean that that everything is solved, everything is good, we can all go back to brunch. That's not how this works. So I agree with you. I have a sense of humor. I do make jokes. Comedy is now legal. You crazy woke radical leftists. Dems would just cave on every front. You know what? I'm not disagreeing on that. Literally, you wouldn't even need elections at all, and that wouldn't even be a controversial position if it still wasn't such a widespread belief. Now, there was a time where I was like laughing at a babbling fool, but not anymore. No, yeah, no, those maybe at the beginning of the 2016 election, I could see that, but nah, bro is very serious. even among the so-called self-identifying left in the US, that the only possibility, the only possible democracy is like outside, like the scale of your family, is a representative one. Even if they held elections and lost, they just wouldn't swear anyone in. I mean, they could. They tried doing that with that one representative, but I'm just saying, like, even if Democrats won every single election, it's not over. The project is not over. In fact, it would just be beginning. Representative democracy may not even be democracy, arguably. Or certainly the best form of it. I agree with that, but goddamn, we're so painfully far from levels of general consciousness. It feels like, yeah. I mean, look, if the representative democracy in the United States worked as intended, we wouldn't be having like these conversations, at all. Because like, if representatives worked like how they're supposed to, by representing the people and making decisions based on what the people need and what the people want within the parameters of what's, you know, stated in the laws, we wouldn't be in this position. We wouldn't be having this conversation. We would just be saying, oh, it works, you know. The people overwhelmingly want healthcare, so Congress drafted Medicare for all. The people want more environmental protections, and so Congress drew it up, because that's, you know, how representative democracy is supposed to work on paper. But then the reality is, the reality hits, and that's not how it works, especially with capitalism being the hegemony everywhere. Thank you for the follow, Chu. Bruno, welcome. Hello here. I am a woke radical left professional agitator. Yeah, please let me know where you're getting your paychecks from. I'd like to sign up. These are not offhanded comments of the president. He is serious about this. He's very serious about this. I welcome a Minnesota resident. It's really hard to be a Minnesota nice right now with everything going on. Yeah, I agree. Speaking of which, here is Stephen Miller talking about you. Apparently you are an insurgent. Congress represents their constituents, the mega donors. Yep. This is what he thinks of you.
You only have to read.
Have you read the Federalist Papers? James Madison said outright what the purpose of the Senate was: to protect the minority of the opulent from leveling impulses of the masses. The only corruption goes day to day. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. That's why the Senate, in an ideal situation, would be dissolved. It would be absorbed by Congress. They would just be representatives. Slaves are pretty naked about their oligarchical intent. Yep. Even Thomas Jefferson. Even Thomas Jefferson, who was supposed to be like one of the, right? We were told as young folks, we were told that Thomas Jefferson was more was one of the more like reasonable and better founding fathers or whatever. And then like you read about the stuff that he said and thought, and the groundwork that he laid for people like Andrew Jackson to genocide the indigenous people. Yeah, you know, the more you learn about actual history and how these people actually thought, the more everything now makes sense. Does that make sense? The more you learn and or more you understand about the so-called founding fathers and how America was founded on and what principles that these people actually had versus what they wrote on paper, what they pretended to, well, I don't want to say pretended to, but what they thought, because in their minds, when they thought about things like democracy and freedom and stuff like that, what they were thinking about was freedom for them. Thomas Paine was one of the more based ones, okay? Thomas Paine was actually based. Thomas Paine was actually, given the circumstances, Thomas Paine and common sense and all that, like he was one of the more based ones. But yeah, anyways, if you think if you're reading history and what's the phrase? What's the saying? If you're reading history and you feel proud, then you're not reading history. No, Thomas Paine did not own slaves. Thomas Paine actually, I think, was very, very much against slavery. I just found out that the head of the Proud Boys had become an ICE officer. We really screwed them. Seriously? Enrique Tarrio? Oh, thou hoot, I'm a John Brown anarchist. John Brown was based. Okay? That dude was based. John Brown did nothing wrong. Yeah, if you're reading like history and like it's romanticized or whatever, and you feel a bit and if you feel a bit good about what's happening, then you're not reading history. History is rough, man. You're thinking of Thomas Jefferson, not Paine? No, Thomas Paine, the guy that wrote Common Sense, is who I'm thinking about. In fact, I had Common Sense somewhere. The Writings of Thomas Paine is another book that I had somewhere. The most based US president was Roosevelt. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not like I'm not gonna like fangirl or fanboy over like specific presidents or anything like that. I mean, like Lincoln was like the last Republican. Lincoln was like the last Republican to like do something in the right way. No presidents are based. Roosevelt did the Japanese concentration camps in the West. Yeah, that's the World War II Roosevelt. I took the time to do what Jesse Ventura said and look at the history books, and he's right. There are similarities from now and 1930s Germany. Yep. But just to be clear, like, this is all here. The reason why there's similarities, so just so that we can kind of like put everything into context, since we're talking about what's happening here. So just to be clear, like, the reason why there's so, think about it, folks. The reason why there's so much similarity between now and the 1930s Germany, where do you think they got that? Where do you think they got that? Hans, hey, I caught you live. Hey, appreciate that. You're forgetting Theodore. Theodore had some good ideas, especially with like antitrust, but he wasn't clean either. Teddy Roosevelt wasn't clean either. He had some good ideas. Like there are. This is why I would like I when I talk about presidents in history, I kind of like tend to focus on like specific policies that I would support and that I like. Like, for example, with regards to Teddy Roosevelt, big antitrust guy, right? I'm a big fan of that. FDR did some good things. He put a lot of labor in place. Obviously, later down the road, it was destroyed. Because it was useless. It was uselessly. There's no guardrails to safeguard that. Whatever economic progress that Franklin Roosevelt did. Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, and going against what people thought was completely against the Constitution, to sign the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves, and he still did it. Yeah, I'm all in favor of that. He took the country to war to destroy the Southern traders who were trying to fight for enslavement. Yeah, I'm completely okay with that. That doesn't like wipe, Abraham Lincoln clean of like all the stuff that he did, and the same thing with some of the other presidents. But yeah, I would prefer to just kind of like say I like some policies that happened back in the day that I wish would return back, like the high tax rates and stuff like that. Things like this. The people who call themselves progressive with total sincerity whilst cheerleading imperialism, long-standing problem, but not enabling the people who also cheer on imperialism and just don't even bother calling themselves progressive. Yep. People think the Constitution is a holy document, don't understand what the word amendment means. I've literally seen a clip like that. Like that. Teddy Roosevelt speaks softly and carry a big stick. Yep. Podcast was saying the Proud Boys have gone silent. They're all in ICE. I completely think that a lot of them are. I completely think that a lot of them have decided to join ICE because, of course, who else would take them, right? Proofreader, thank you. I like that username. Appreciate that. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, just to go back to your point, was it Chu? Someone said that, oh, we look like 1930s Nazi Germany. Yeah. There's a reason why we look like 1930s Germany. Where do you think they got that from? There are deliberately no guardrails because the whole intention was to keep the social democratic concessions long enough to diffuse the revolutionary fervor in the moment, hence why FDR kept Herbert Hoover on to keep killing the left the whole time. I mean, makes sense to me. I think they were all offered ICE jobs. That doesn't surprise me at all. That sounds exactly like the type of job that Proud Boy would do. Only in America, the Red Scare is so great they prefer the word progressive than socialist or even social democrat. The Nazis in 1930 Germany were inspired by the 1930s United States and Jim Crow laws. Yep. That's why I'm saying, like, where do you think they got that from? Why does the United States look like Nazi Germany? Well, where do you think they got that? In fact, they were very interested in our race laws too. I forget what it was called, where there used to be a time where the United States and several laws against race mixing, they had a specific name for it, and now I can't remember. But they were very interested in laws like that, which inspired, I don't want to say the Nuremberg laws. The something or other, I forget. Jesse Ventura from Minnesota. Wasn't he already the governor from Minnesota? Misogynation. Thank you. Yes. Okay. The Nazis were specifically very interested in our misogynation laws. Yes. That's right. Misogynation. So they were very, very interested in all that stuff. The Jim Crow laws, yep, which they took inspiration from. Manifest Destiny, things like that. The Germans are even worse than Americans, are about endlessly comparing what's happening to the US to the Nazi regime. Miscegenation, like a short E, like let. At miscegenation. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. This is exactly, got it first? Gotcha. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. America was fascist before the Germans became Nazis. I mean, like, the concept of fascism wasn't really like around, but the ideas were there, right? The ideas of fervent nationalism, of the racial kind of aspect of it, the authoritarianism part of it, like yeah, all of that is kind of like baked in, but yeah. The woke comments that came out of the tiny dancer Tim Wall's mouth last night are all lies. Leave my play police alone or else I'm gonna invoke the Insurrection Act. Nobody's ever done it, but I will. I believe this was the first conversation we've ever had. Glad to see we are in agreement. I don't see why not. I think I'm pretty sure a lot of us are in agreement. Fascism was born. Yeah, the real fascism as we know it today was born in Italy. And some say Gestapo, I say slave catchers. Yeah, I think that, like, I saw a video earlier to make that argument. Like, I see why people say Gestapo, including myself, by the way, because they do act like secret police, the raids, the disappearing of people, right? But I think like slave catchers and kind of brings it home, right? Slave catchers, like, because this is very, very much American. This is homegrown. This is about as American as apple pie. You know what I'm saying? You understand the reason why the Nazis were brought in by the big money to crush the left in Germany. The left in Germany was huge at the time. They had just attempted a communist revolution. Yes, exactly right. That's exactly what happened. In fact, I'm in my old episode of fascism. One of the big key points is the reason why big business was willing to fund these monsters, these fascist monsters, was because they were afraid of the left revolution, and they were more willing to concede and fund these fascist movements to protect their capital, thinking that they could be the ones in control, but it ended up swallowing them anyways. So yeah. I have a pic of a runaway slave patrol badge on 6 points, just like most sheriff badges in the US. I share it to remind people where local policing in the US came from. Whereas, in much the same way exploitation of one set of society, historically to a greater or lesser degree by the majority, actually by a subset thereof ruling classes subordinate the rest, has been prevalent before capitalism. The form has changed. Yep. Whereas once they controlled land and appealed to God, some now they control money and appeal to practicality. The naturalization of the right to some have more money than all entails. Yep. A quote from the German Lutheran pastor makes so much sense today. Some say Nazis, I say Confederates. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it's the idea that, like, this is about as American as apple pie, kind of really brings it back home, and brings the point home, right? Like, you know, when people, like, because I mean, it is like there's so many similarities between, like, how these people act and how these people are that, yeah, of course you see the comparisons between Nazi Germany and here because they're very clear. But to say neo-Confederates or whatever to say more slave catchers instead of Gestapo, really brings it home. How much time before ICE demands mandatory DNA tests for American purity? 3 months before midterms? Sheesh. Don't even speak that into existence. I mean, like, we're at the point where, like, we're not, like, doing like, DNA tests, but, like, ICE is going around, obviously, racially profiling people. Doing, the Peter Griffin meme. So that's that we're skipping a hop. Trump has a low ceiling of approval. The same back then. The mustache man was never anything like beloved by a majority. Yep, 100%. He actually enjoyed about the same approval rating, anywhere from like the high 20s to mid 30s. I think like the highest like approval rating that like Hitler ever got was like 30-something%. But anyways, yeah, first they came for the communists, but I wasn't a communist. Yeah, and they did. You know why? Because those were the people mounting a resistance at the beginning. And then nobody else backed them up, even though the left was constantly saying these people are freaking dangerous. And here we are. I think somebody pointed it out, almost 100 years, and here we are again. The Germany of the morons are calling themselves MAGA, where it would be MDWG, Mach Deutschland weiter. Mach Deutschland wieder großartig. Oof, my German is terrible. Wieder. Like weeds, wieder. No offense, I'm just terrible at pronunciation. Mine is not that much better than yours. I mean, at least you understand the language a little bit. I don't. To our friend from Minnesota that was in chat earlier, the V is a V, not a W. Gotcha. Yeah, the W's are pronounced kind of like a V. To our friend that was in Minnesota earlier, yeah, you guys are insurrectionists. Did you hear that? Breaking news.
Read their own words and hear their own words and judge their own conduct to understand that this is clearly an insurgency against the federal government. They are describing the federal government as an occupying force.
It is. So Life, this is like the third time today I start typing something, I forget halfway through, and then when I reread I was typing, I don't remember after I read it. Oof. Hey, I'm in Minnesota. Whoopsies! Did we talk about Jesse Ventura today? No, but he did come out and say like statements that I agreed with. I saw like a small video that Jesse Ventura said, and I agreed with him. I agreed with him.
Just think about that for a second. The federal government is responsible for the administration of federal law.
Yep.
The administration of federal benefits.
Yep.
The administration of federal resources.
Yep.
The administration of federal immigration enforcement in all 50 states. Right? The federal government, whether it's providing the funding for our...
the problem here, numbnuts, is that you're not doing any of that. You're trying to destroy government programs, okay? And the federal enforcement that you are claiming to be doing is killing civilians, okay? Is killing American citizens. That's the problem here. You Goebbels ass mother effer. Literally, they behave as much as you possibly could with the government authority to denigrate it with the taint of illegitimacy. And then these little bitch vermin. You should watch the full video. Yeah, I gotta watch that. It's like I think it was like a conversation between Jesse Ventura and a press. Turn around and try to gaslight people into thinking recognizing it accurately and behaving accordingly is the problem, not them. Yep.
Our entitlement and our safety net programs, whether it is providing security at our airports.
You're not doing any of that, though.
And our ports of entry, whether it is maintaining the safety and security of our roads, our transportation,
The Charlie Kirk Show.
our bridges. And of course, the federal government has sole jurisdiction and authority over immigration law because we have one national immigration law. We do not have, just like we have one national currency, we have one national flag, we have one national constitution, we have one national immigration law.
Yeah, you don't care about any of that, though. Like, please spare me this talk about, like, having any sort of semblance of caring about the Constitution, okay? Like, please, be freaking for real. And just about where I've lost all my faith in humanity is how many useful idiots eat that shit up still with all the effing nonsense going on, and that's still going on, so easy to find evidence of. Immigration enforcement versus law enforcement, even the cops can't act like ICE. ICE has more freedom and protection. Yep, because ICE is a designated, brown shirts, so to speak, for the administration. They're the bounty hunters. They're the slave catchers. They're the Gestapo. These are the anointed paramilitary arm that the state and the regime has designated to carry out the intimidation and enforcement tactics. Comply, or else we'll show up at your door. Maybe. Comply, or maybe you'll end up dead. Comply, or maybe you'll get flashbanged inside your car with your kids inside them. Comply, or maybe you'll get beat up by 5 ICE thugs and be dumped outside the Walmart parking lot as a 17-year-old. Comply, or you'll be sprayed with bear mace at point-blank range. For no reason. Comply, or you might be shot. Dead.
Law.
Freest country in the world, by the way.
If you were to permit individual cities and states to ratify their own immigration laws
No one's talking about that.
themselves, then you wouldn't have a republic and you wouldn't have a country. And that's
So, first of all, shut the F up about you caring about a country or you caring about a republic, which is a form of democracy. Just shut up about that. Nobody's talking about having 50 different immigration laws based on 50 different... Nobody's talking about that.
That's the proposition that Fry and Ellison and Waltz are trying to test. They are asserting that they have the unfettered right to harbor aliens who have no right to be in this country.
No. What they're saying is that they don't have to help the federal government, and what they're saying is that the federal government is creating a world, is creating chaos and hurting people and killing people and acting as an occupying force because it is. Yeah, home of the free with more people incarcerated than the People's Republic of China. But this country, good, F it for the better world, might as well buried under the sea. Just make sure we get off it first, okay? Just let me off it first, please.
And to effectively, in fact, to incite violent insurrection.
No one's inciting anything. The only people inciting anything is ICE, the ICE presence. You know what's really inciting? Killing people in a neighborhood. Yeah, killing an unarmed woman in a neighborhood. That is incitement. Beating people in the streets, it's incitement. Okay. ICE vetting is so non-existent, undocumented people could join ICE and they wouldn't know the difference. True. I would love to imagine I had the power to incite. Incitement is what it's needed. Yeah, they're the ones doing all the incitement. The reason why people are out on the streets, protesting and getting beat up by ICE and by the police, as Nadia points out, by the regular police and ICE. The reason why that's happening is because these people are the ones that are inciting stuff. The reason why people are out on the streets is because your thugs are killing people. Your thugs are disappearing neighbors. Your thugs are going around asking for papers, please, and people are tired of it. That's the incitement right there. You want to talk about incitement? Yeah, that might make people mad. If I'm inciting anything, I'm inciting immigration. I don't blame you. I will be going on the Charlie Kirk show. You know, he's a real hero on America's Voice for exclusive interview. You know, hopefully Erica Kirk's waiting for me. Tune in about 2 hours.
From organized agitators against federal forces to prevent those federal forces from effectuating duly enacted immigration law.
Nope. What's happening is the said federal forces are acting as an occupying army and are beating people. They're beating people, they're killing people, and that's why they're there. That's why they're being confronted. Okay? If you didn't want this, then get out. If you didn't want this, then get out. But of course, they want this. They want escalation. They want escalation. Keith Hayes, welcome. Thugs claim they have the law. Yep. I always tell people to get out of the U.S. I mean, if you can, and if that's what you have to do, I support that. I support that. So that's cool. The FBI is searching homes of journalists now. I got out, hence my being in Berlin. Yeah, I mean, I do not blame you at all. Running away doesn't solve any problems. I mean, if that's what you have to do, I mean, it's if that's what you have to do, to be safe, then, that's what you have to do. I mean, I'm not gonna blame anybody for trying to peace out of here. I'm not gonna blame anybody for leaving. People can do what they are able to do and want to do. Yeah, I mean, that's all we can do. That's all we can do, you know? It's exceedingly rare, even investigations of unauthorized disclosure of classified information, for federal agents to search a reporter's home. Not anymore. FBI searched the home of a Washington Post reporter on Wednesday as part of an investigation into a government contractor's handling of classified material, a significant escalation in the Trump administration's tactic in seeking information from the news media. It is exceedingly rare, even in investigations of classified disclosures, for federal agents to search a reporter's home. A 1980 law generally bars search warrants from reporters' work materials unless the reporter themselves are suspected of committing a crime related to the materials. Fantastic stuff happening here. UB researcher got detained by ICE in Buffalo. Yeesh. The Washington Post reporter Hannah Nathanson had spent the past year covering the Trump administration's effort to fire federal workers and redirect much of the workforce towards enforcing his agenda. Many of those employees shared with her their anger, frustration, and fear with the administration's changes. That's the crime. That's her crime. She's reporting on what the administration is doing. A spokesperson for the Post said on Wednesday that the publication was reviewing and monitoring the situation. Gee, thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys. Really supporting your employee here. The FBI agents executed a search warrant, seized laptops, a phone, and a smartwatch during their search. An article in the Post said something the publication had received a subpoena on Wednesday morning seeking information related to a government contractor. Yeah, poison in the Coke at literally any time. Fascist always wants to silence any dissent. Yep. Speaking to reporters in the afternoon, President Trump made an apparent reference to the case, saying that the government had caught a very bad leaker of information related to Venezuela. He said that suggested similar investigations were underway, saying there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're hot on the trail. That's really cool, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. So yeah, I mean, like, we made these laws in like the 1980s. You really shouldn't be going after reporters for reporting stuff that were leaked to them. That's a skill issue, okay? Like, if you had a leak about all the terrible stuff that you're doing, right? That your regime is doing, that sounds to me like a skill issue, okay? That sounds to me like a skill issue. We'll be monitoring the situation about what's happening here. In recent months, Ms. Nathanson had contributed to several articles about American pressure campaign on Venezuela. The pressure campaign being the war crimes, okay? I hate that every time the news always, no matter what publication you read, it was not a pressure campaign. It was just a series of war crimes, including the illegal capture of President Nicolas Maduro, the country's leader. When articles cited the government documents describing a diplomatic meeting at the Vatican, in a statement on social media, attorney Pam Bondi said that the search was executed at the request of the Pentagon to look for evidence at the home of a journalist who was obtaining and reporting classified and illegally leaked information from a Pentagon contractor. Skill issue. Skill issue. Honestly. The only good thing is that the reporter had to know this would be happening. This would happen. Be safe. Yeah, no kidding. Welcome, Wolf Glenn. Operational security and like understanding how the laws work is incredibly important, and having a buddy system too, to make sure that if you are some kind of reporter, that you have some kind of backup, and heck, be ready to like release anything to the cloud or save stuff in safe places. It's becoming that important. Ronald Reagan signed that law. How ironic. Proved to be here through 2029. People don't understand the lasting implications of rounding up people in research in universities. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. In fact, I'm very lucky to know somebody, and I talk about them. I've talked about them several times in this channel, who do research on the environment, here in Florida, and because of all this stuff that's been happening in the Trump administration, particularly during the whole Doge thing. He said that basically the way he described it is that like science basically came to a stop. Like time had just frozen. And that is very scary, okay? When you have people in the research field saying, hey, what the government has been doing has been so catastrophic with our ability to do research that it feels like time has just stopped. Like they're just like they don't exist. Like time as far as research is concerned is just stopped. It's in limbo. Nothing is happening. It is very scary. It's very scary when you think about it, when it starts to sink in, of the ramifications of that. And that's just one little example about a friend that I know that's doing research in Florida. I can only imagine what's been happening across the country with regards to different fields. They have a skill issue because they keep firing all the skilled people. BCAT is a woke reporter from fake MSNBC. There's time for me to raid her house next. Yes, Mr. President. Operational security is a real thing, and you don't want to find out about it. Yeah, as we should all be practicing operational security. Anyone that's against the Trump regime, no matter where you fall, it should be practicing operational security. Stop posting stuff on social media. Oh, this was supposed to be a poll. I'll do that right now. I don't know why it didn't like tell me that it was a poll. One second. Give me 1 second, folks. The cats are messing around with something. One second. Yes, we should all practice operational security. My sister did HIV research and was let go with Doge. Jeez. Get the spray bottle. Nah, they're just chasing each other. I haven't posted to my socials since 07 because I no longer engage with them. Science came to a standstill because science never gave them the answers to what they like. Oh, I meant government operational security. Computer people have mostly been avoiding the U.S. since Dmitry Skylov got prosecuted in 2001. I mean, it's not like there's any urgency in climate research in a place like Florida. Not like it's hard to get insurance for your home apartment, which, I wonder what that is. Let's not look too much into it. Not like there's a good chance Florida will be underwater by 2050. No worries. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. Don't get that. Don't start thinking about that too much. You know. Okay, so it's not letting me do the full thing, but, let's see. We have 3 months before midterms, 1 year. Okay. Alright, here we go. Here's the poll. On Twitch. I have to watch like Aqua Stormy and everyone else. Before bothering us, it's first on ballot every election. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are mass surveillance platforms. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. No kidding. Yep, basically. Free speech experts condemned the move as an aggressive escalation that could undercut press freedom. Yeah, no kidding. Jamal Jaffer, the director of Knight First Amendment Institute of Columbia University, pointed out the chilling effect it could have on legitimate journalistic activity. There are important limits on the government's authority to carry out searches that implicate the First Amendment activity. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. I would have voted within the next hour given the option. Bruce Brown, the president of Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, called the search one of the most invasive steps law enforcement could take. He said federal law and policies limited searches to the most extreme cases, lest such a step chill the public interest and free flow of information to the news media beyond the case in question. I mean, we can like forget that. Like that's out of the that has left the chat. Okay, the idea that we now have that we have a First Amendment right when we have the federal government trying to search journalists' home without a real legitimate reason, like accusing them of a crime, then yeah, I can't. The First Amendment, for all intents and purposes, has left the chat. Did you change something about the mic? It sounds a bit distorted sometimes on my end. I don't know. It sounds okay to me. If anyone else can tell me what else they hear, then please let me know. Please let me know. Venezuela's biggest mistake is not having a nuke. Cuba's biggest mistake is not having a nuke. True. Iran has nukes, by the way. Do they? Actually, I don't know. Excuse my ignorance. You sound ghee. What is ghee? I'm confused. Can you say it like what? Can you say what you mean? Why are you ghee? Like ghee, like cooking ghee? I don't cook with ghee. Bring it next time. That's the cheese, I think. I'm obviously messing with them. Incredibly homophobic. Get out of here. The Constitution is only as good as the people that enforce it. Sounds okay to me. It was very smart of them to get it then. Yeah, I wasn't aware if they had nukes or not. If Iran actually had a nuke, the U.S. wouldn't mess around with them. That's true. So I'm actually not informed. Oh, is it butter? It's yeah, clarified butter that you can cook with. If Iran had nukes, the U.S. would know about it and would never have bombed Iran. True. True. That's true. You know what? That's true. Chatter must be 12. Yep. The U.S. First Amendment was kind of a massive mistake with respect to incitement and harassment. It's all being replaced with ICE posting 1488 memes anyways. True! True. I'm all about that smoke. An Indian word of it, I think. Ghee? I'm not familiar. I was just like, how do I twist that around? How do I twist that around and mess with the troll? Next! Yes, Mr. President! Operational security. Let me see. I'm all about that smoke. I don't know. It sounds okay to me. Sounds okay to me. Folks, is the microphone coming in loud and clear? Oh, Indian ghee. Gotcha. Sounds fine. Okay. Yeah, sometimes, you know, that actually might be like some kind of error maybe on the platform, because last time when I was doing a stream for this space, some people were saying some people were saying that it was distorted, but then when I looked back, it actually was the website, not necessarily like, because the sound sounded the same. You should grow a bit of a sense of humor. Jokes are legal now. Oh yeah, jokes are legal. My bad. I'm supposed to laugh at your homophobia if this is the same person. who's like literally 12 in their mom's basement. So obnoxious because not only these people are effing stupid, but they have the gall to come in and act confident. Yeah, they came into the wrong place. I mean, like, do they think like this is like a place for them to be? Like, where do you think that this is a place that they're gonna come in here and troll? No, look at me. I'm the captain now, okay? No one gets to troll this show except me. Okay? There is no troll that's gonna come out here that is going to be better than me. Okay? France is Europe's strongest army. Are you being a woke scold? Yeah, dude. Woke scolding is when you chastise a Twitch chatter for being homophobic. That's being a woke scold. That's what I'm being told. Get out of your mom's basement, dude. You're 12. It's not safe for you down here. What's the joke exactly? The joke is being a bigoted, hateful person. That's the joke. Thanks to this space, I found this show. Thank you. And do your show. Stop being a dick. I am doing my show. You're my show, dude. Making fun of you, and showing you how childish you are is my show. You brought this upon yourself, dude. You made this happen to you, okay? And yet here you are deciding you made that decision to go on YouTube, okay? Talk about do your show. You are my show. Making fun of immature 12-year-olds is my show. That is my speciality. I don't know where you think you walked into, my friend. But you walked into the wrong channel. Maybe you should troll somebody else. You walked into the wrong channel, my friend. Yeah, maybe this isn't your content. I agree. I agree. Oof. Or like that we share their insecurities about masculinity, right? Like as if that is like a bad thing, right? Like as if that's a bad thing anyways. It's all just childish. I thought like that was like done and over with when we became adults. It's lazy. I agree. My content is whatever I want it to be. That's what it is. Who's the troll? None your business. None your business. My content is whatever I want it to be. If I want to sit here and just like play nothing for 2 hours, then that'll be my content. If I want to sit here and talk and talk about politics for 3 hours, that's my content. If I want to sit here and do video games for 45 minutes and call it a day, that's my content. In this case, you are my content. Making fun of trolls is my bread and butter. That's how I do things. Nah, some people are stuck in their preteens year. Yeah, like this person. I did a live stream reacting to Ari Moir's reaction video to Simon Clark's 2025 climate and review video. Nice. Just about every live streamer ever makes their show dunking on trolls, and that person never watched a live stream. Seriously, welcome, Anna. Appreciate that. Like they think that like walking in here is like they're gonna just take over. I'm literally not trying to troll you. It's like I actually like you and your content and news. You're up your own ass though. True. I am. Or you could just be respectful and listen. Right? Or you can just be respectful and listen. You could do that. You could do that. Yeah, emotionally they're 12. I think we need a group hug. True. I think Chatter needs a group hug over here. Oh no, the consequences of my own actions. Yeah. I think Chatter over here needs a group hug. I don't think you're up your own ass. Well, thank you, Kirkenstein's monster. Anyways. TLDR, the Trump administration, you feel zero negative consequences. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. Is often up his own gluteus. Yeah, Nanya is teaching me life lessons. That's true. Yeah, pearls of wisdom over here. Maybe one day they'll grow up. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a next the next polls should be like when will Chatter grow up? Go to your dinner. Your mom's waiting with your dino nuggies. Honestly, I'm not one to talk. I love dino nuggies. That one's kind of on me. He'll be back soon with a new name. Such is life with the trolls. It's okay. It's okay. We love our trolls, don't we, people? Anyways, TLDR, the Trump administration is taking a way more aggressive approach. The First Amendment is basically toilet paper at this point. Your First Amendment is is basically toilet paper. Your Fourth Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, God knows they're going after the 14th Amendment. It's slowly but surely all breaking down one by one. Block button. Yeah. I still have making a troll account to keep himself entertained. You can do that on Twitch, by the way. I think it's active. Oh no! Hey chat, look at that. Is Chatter an adult outlook not so good? Oh my god, even the 8-ball knows that this is literally we're dealing literally with the maturity of a 12-year-old. Why doesn't he just go sit in vertical? Because then he'll definitely be ignored. Because I can't see that chat. I don't think I can see that chat unless it's all merged together with Restream. I don't think I can see that chat. At all. Yeah, I think you're exactly inappropriate amount of your own ass considering the totality of the circumstances. Yeah. There must be some degree, right, to be able to get up here and do this, right? There must be some kind of degree. I made that Trump impersonation just to heckle the head out of that troll. We love our trolls. I kind of messed myself up with that one because I actually do love dino nuggies. Okay, that's where my mind was, because it's like it's getting to like 7 o'clock and I'm getting hungry, so my mind was already heading towards freaking dino nuggies or whatever food I was planning to eat. I should have said Hot Pockets. It's rare that I eat Hot Pockets. I should have just gone with that. First Amendment, the whole Constitution has been a little more than a mop bed for diarrhea since it was written. True, honestly. Honestly, at this point, like, the Constitution only matters if, like, people actually care, and it doesn't. And like the way it was, like the whole premise of all of this, like is already like pretty messed up. So yeah, Trump will never admit defeat. We will lie to this tooth until the very end. Duck Guantanamo calls BS. That's false. Wait, what? What's false? Oh, toilet paper at least has a use of value. Oh, no! At the new First Amendment, you have the right to agree with everything that Trump says and only what Trump says. Yep. That's how it is. Oh, I forgot. I briefly mentioned it. Oh no, this is different. Oh, I didn't pull it up. Okay, here we go. This is the other one that I wanted to talk about. I feel like shaping chicken nuggets into dinosaurs is kind of a slap in the face of chickens and dinosaurs. True, but they taste so good, and no one on this earth can tell me that dino chicken nuggies taste the same as regular chicken nuggies, okay? No one on this planet can tell me otherwise, okay? True. The Constitution is nothing more than whatever the 5 black-robed Klansmen and literal handmaids, one of the cults that inspired art, would say it is, and the handmaid that published the papers on the Reconstruction Amendments all being illegitimate and ratified. Trump is staging a slow motion coup. I mean, it's happening. It's happening. Can we just go over this clown news article for just 1 second before we get out of here? Venezuela's Machado says she's presented Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize during the meeting. Yeah, she thought. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado discussed her country's future with President Trump on the White House, even though he's dismissed her as an option to take over the audacious military and illegal. What is this framing? Audacious military. I mean, I guess it is pretty audacious. But anyways, illegal, audacious military raid that captured the president, Nicolas Maduro, less than 2 weeks after U.S. forces seized Maduro and his wife at the heavily guarded compound in Caracas and brought him to New York. Blah 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 blah. Now the clown Machado, who somehow managed to win the Nobel Peace Prize, is attempting to present Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize because she didn't like give it to him at the beginning, and that's rumored why she wasn't even picked. It's all bananas. As a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom. No, actually, this is like self-humiliation. What commitment of free? If you truly believe, okay, yeah, she's trying to kiss the ring. If you truly believe that this is about freedom, I've got a bridge to sell you, because this is not about freedom. The Maduro government is still the same. There's nothing different other than Maduro's not there. That's it. Yeah, she's not even legitimate to take power. She was not even on the ballot. Machado got played like a Zionist cuck she is. She's really trying to kiss the ring. Yep, they kidnapped Maduro and took him hostage, not merely captured. Yep. This is very embarrassing. Dinosaur, the original chicken nugget. Not even in slow motion compared to other fascist dictators, have gone at record speed. This is pretty... Yeah, I guess I would say. I won a clown award for being the best Ronald McDonald clown ever. That's why they call me your favorite president, a clown. She's not safe back in her own country because she's a traitor. Yep. There's no immediate word from the White House if Trump had accepted Machado's medal, a prize he had sought for himself. Right, but he never won it. It was not given to him. But she's trying to present him this as a way of trying to get into power in Venezuela. That's what this is about. Like she doesn't care about the people of Venezuela. Not at all. She just wants to take power, and she's tripping over herself to kiss the ring, so to speak, as Ladybug put it. This is wild, and pretty humiliating and embarrassing. This must be the final form of brown nosing. I mean, I meant to play this or talk about this earlier, but this is pretty funny. Pretty funny. A rapping duck? Yeah, Quaximus is pretty talented for a duck. Yes, come for the news, stay for the duck. Look, we did only news today. We did only news today, by the way. That's the first time I've done a full, basically almost full stream of just news. Yep, it's so blatantly obvious. If anyone's ever detained by a Muslim or POW held by a Muslim, they're called a hostage. F them then. They're less legitimate than bloody Hamas or Boko Haram. Anyone the MAGA Trumpists take prisoner is a hostage. Yep. Soul Life thinking he has mod powers. My sweet summer child. BRB, I have a furry feline fiend to feline friend to feed. No problem. We're getting out of here, Bad Lefty. So I appreciate you dropping by. Oh look, you guys switch places. Isn't that so cool? You can just like you can just switch places. And bounce back and forth. That's really cool. It says everyone on the Stream Elements website. I mean, you could use it, but I don't think it does anything. Oh, the shout out? Yeah, you can use the shout out. It's so funny. The shout out is for anyone because we like to elevate anyone that does content. That's the whole point. That's the whole purpose of it. All right, folks, let me get out of here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you to all the new follows and welcome to all the new follows. If you're on YouTube, welcome. If you're new here on Twitch, welcome. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Cognizant, with the sub. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate all of you guys. Check out the links if you want to support the channel directly. Check out my show on this space every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Go check them out, folks. There's plenty of good stuff over there. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. I appreciate all of you guys. We'll be back on Monday. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one about Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern time-ish. Thank you all. Thank you. Appreciate it. See ya. Whoa, KDT. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, please. I can't rate anybody, but Godspeed, you know. There's plenty of content. You can check out this space. You can check out the surfs. Today's Thursday, so 8 p.m. Leftist Mafia. Leftist Mafia is going to be on. There's so many places. I'm going to go return the favor. If you're on Twitch, hang tight. We're raiding Bunker Cat. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.